You ever look at someone you know, a peer, and just wonder, how did they get so far ahead, so fast? The default answer is always, oh, they just worked harder. But what if that's not just wrong? What if that's the opposite of the truth? What if the biggest gaps in our careers, the truly exponential ones, are created in just a single explosive 12-month period?
That's exactly it. It's the difference between just running faster on the same old treadmill versus literally building a rocket ship. The secret isn't putting in more hours, it's about upgrading your mental software. You see, working harder just keeps you on that same predictable linear path. But thinking better, that creates an entirely new curve, one that shoots straight up.
And that's exactly what we're going to dive into. Forget hustle culture for a minute. We're going to unpack the thinking behind this massive divergence and lay out 4 essential upgrades for your mental operating system. Now, these aren't just tips or tricks. They are fundamental shifts in your framework that can completely redefine your next year. So, let's get into it.
So our first upgrade, and honestly, this is the most critical one, it's the architecture of choice. It's all about how you make decisions, because at the end of the day, the quality of your life is just a direct reflection of the quality of your choices. Simple as that.
Okay, so let's talk about a concept you've probably felt but maybe couldn't name. Decision fatigue. We've all been there. But here's the crazy part, the real paradox. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between a tiny decision and a massive one. The mental energy you burn agonizing over what to order for lunch is drawn from the exact same bank account you need to plan your 5-year career move.
And this right here, this is the trap. You spend your entire day making dozens and dozens of these small, low-stakes decisions. What email to answer first, which route to take to work, what to watch tonight. So by the time you actually get to the big, life-changing choices, you are cognitively bankrupt. You're trying to make the most important decisions of your life with the least amount of mental fuel. It's a recipe for disaster.
So what's the solution? It's what the author calls the slow decision framework. For the choices that are actually going to define your life in the next 3 to 5 years, changing your career, moving to a new city, starting a company, you have to intentionally hit the brakes. No more impulsive pivots. This is about slowing down, doing the deep research, and evaluating things systematically.
Right. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, slow down, but what does that actually look like? How do you structure that thinking so you're making a high-quality decision and you're not just, stressing out for a longer period of time?
You do it with this incredibly powerful tool called second-order thinking. And it all comes down to one simple, relentless question. And then? See, first-order thinking is just about the immediate result. I'll quit my job because I'm unhappy. But second-order thinking goes deeper. Okay, I quit my job. And then what? Well, I have no income. And then what? I have to find a new job, but now I'm under pressure. And then what? It forces you to play out the whole movie, not just the first scene.
Okay, let's keep building on this, because making those big, scary, slow decisions takes a ton of courage. It means you have to be willing to be wrong. And that brings us right to our second upgrade, emotional resilience. Because without this, you're never going to take the risks you need to take. I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. The author uses this fantastic rubber band metaphor. Real resilience isn't about pretending you don't feel stress or failure. That's just denial. Think about it. A good rubber band is meant to be stretched. The mark of its quality isn't that it never stretches. It's how fast it snaps back to its original shape when you let go. That's resilience. And that snapback quality really comes down to 2 things. First, there's restorative power. After you take a hit, a project fails, you get some harsh feedback, how fast can you get back to a functional, neutral state? Does it take you 24 to 48 hours, or does it completely derail your whole month? And second, subjective agency. This one is huge. Is your self-worth coming from inside you, or are you constantly outsourcing it to what your boss thinks, or what your parents expect, or what you see on social media?
And this quote just hits it perfectly. Subjective agency means you become the main character in your own story. You stop feeling this constant need to justify your choices to everyone. People who get it don't need an explanation. And honestly, people who don't, well, they won't get it anyway. This mindset is your armor.
Okay, so you're making better choices, you're resilient enough to handle whatever comes your way. The third upgrade is about changing your fundamental role in the world. It's about making the shift from being a passive consumer to an active creator.
This comparison really gets to the heart of it. A consumer is basically motivated by spending money to get a feeling or a product. It's a cycle of needing to earn more so you can consume more. But a creator? They're obsessed with something totally different.
solving problems and providing value. For them, money isn't really the goal. It's just the natural result of the value they put out into the world. And look, you don't have to go launch a tech company to become a creator. You can start really, really small. Take food. The consumer goes out and eats at a great restaurant. Awesome. But the creator gets inspired by that meal, goes home, learns how to cook that dish themselves, and then hosts a dinner party for their friends. They've created an experience. Or, how about this one? Buying something. The consumer just buys the thing, uses it, done. The creator buys it, and then writes an incredibly detailed, helpful, constructive review. They're not just a customer anymore. They're creating data. They're helping other people make better choices. They're now an active participant in that whole ecosystem.
You can even transform something as simple as reading. The consumer reads a book and, puts it back on the shelf. The creator finishes the book and asks, okay, now what? They write a summary, they pull out the key ideas and figure out how to apply them. Maybe they share those insights in a blog post or a quick video. They turn passive consumption into active creation.
All right, this brings us to our final upgrade, and it's probably the most advanced one. If you really want to sustain that gap between you and your peers for your entire life, you have to master the natural rhythm of growth and reinvention.
Just about everything. Every skill you learn, every career path, it all follows this S-curve. You start at the bottom, in the struggle phase, where it's slow and it's hard. Then, if you stick with it, you hit this sweet spot of rapid exponential growth. But here's the part that everybody forgets. Every single curve eventually flattens out and then starts to decline. It's inevitable. And this is the secret. This is the whole game. The absolute highest performers, they don't wait for things to go stale. While they are still riding high on their current S-curve, they are already taking a leap of faith to start at the bottom of their next curve. It's totally counterintuitive. It means you have to give up the comfort of being an expert to become a total beginner all over again.
And if you want proof, look no farther than the author's own life. This timeline is just incredible. From English teacher to an MBA, to a top corporate exec, to a tech founder, to a business creator, and now to Harvard to get on the next curve of Web3 and AI. Every single move was a leap to a new S-curve, and he made it before the old one went obsolete.
This completely reframes the whole idea of a successful life. We're taught to think about it as a ladder that you just climb, step by step. But that's not it. It's a spiral ascent, a series of overlapping waves of growth, where you use the momentum from one wave to catch the next bigger one, pushing yourself higher and higher.
So there you have it. That's the roadmap. 4 powerful upgrades to your thinking. You now have the frameworks for better decisions, for emotional resilience, for creating value, and for lifelong reinvention. The next 12 months are a blank slate. The only question left is, what's your next curve going to be?